Deep within every person is a silent but powerful call. Become yourself. This call is not an invitation to an easy life, but a journey full of challenges, a journey to overcome imposed models, false expectations, and especially the shame that has taken root since we were very young. Nietzsche clearly saw this. He believed that true freedom is not simply the ability to do whatever we want, but the ability to open up our true self, regardless of the limitations imposed by society and by ourselves. According to Nietzsche, true freedom is not merely the ability to act according to one's desires, but rather the process of becoming one's true self. In The Joyous Science, he writes, "What does your conscience say? You must become yourself." This is not just a philosophical statement, but a profound life principle. Each person carries within them a true essence, an intact self that has not been shaped by society, and freedom is the journey of discovering, developing, and realizing that essence. Nietzsche believes that there is a possibility we may fail to become ourselves, and the cause often lies in both internal and external barriers. He uses the image of an acorn to illustrate. Within a small acorn lies the full vitality and shape of a mature oak tree. But if the conditions are not right, lacking sunlight, water, or nutritious soil, the acorn will never grow into a tree. Humans are the same, carrying the potential to live according to their true nature. But only when the living conditions are right can they become the most complete version of themselves. Thus, true freedom is the freedom to become oneself, not limited, not distorted by societal pressure, but fully developed like the acorn becoming a tree. Shame is one of the most profoundly destructive emotions to the development of the self. According to Nietzsche, shame is a significant obstacle that prevents individuals from becoming their true selves. But why does shame have such power to hinder? Because behind the feeling of shame lies a deeply hidden thought: I am not the person I should be. In other words, the mind of the person carrying shame is comparing themselves to some idealized model, an image of how a man should behave, how a woman should act, or what a proper father or wife should be. The problem is, these models do not come from within us, but from society. All the shoulds are created by society. Think back to when you were a child. You had no concept of what you should do. You just did what you wanted. That was a pure mind. But as we grow up, we are taught to do this, not do that. And that is when our minds become conditioned by society. It forms a set of standards, and when we fail to meet them, we feel shame. Therefore, when living according to society's shoulds, we are no longer ourselves. We become a copy, a puppet controlled by expectations and prejudices. And it is in this departure from our true selves that shame arises, holding us back, making us live in a way that is contrary to our true nature. When people allow the feeling of shame to control them, they easily lose connection with their true selves and gradually create false personas. In the book, Healing the Shame That Binds You, John Bradshaw explains that to escape the feeling of shame, we often construct false selves, roles that do not reflect our true inner being. Timmy's story is a clear example. Timmy was a sensitive, artistic, and intuitive boy. He was easily moved, loved painting, and cared about the emotions of others. This was his true, unique self with great potential. However, Timmy's mother did not see this. She constantly compared him to his older brother, forcing him to be strong, energetic, and masculine like him. Her words were demeaning. "You're just a weak boy, like a girl." These words not only hurt Timmy, but also planted a distorted message in his mind: there is something wrong with who I am. To cope with the shame, Timmy began abandoning his true self and took on the role of a second brother, hitting the gym, playing sports, acting like a tough man. But to fully play this role, he had to believe that he truly was that character. In the process, Timmy gradually severed his connection with his true self, losing his emotions, creativity, and authenticity. His life became hollow, full of loneliness, because others only saw the mask, never the real person behind it. When people reject their true selves and live according to the desires of others, they often fall into toxic relationships and feel deeply disconnected from both themselves and others. Timmy, after many years of living the role imposed by his mother and brother, eventually realized the meaninglessness of this way of life. He had maintained those relationships by sacrificing his true self, but in return, he felt loneliness, suffocation, and a lack of understanding. Timmy realized that his relationship with his mother and brother was not based on understanding or genuine love. It was a relationship based on power, control, and expectations. They did not know who Timmy truly was, and therefore, there was no real bond. Timmy felt lonely even when he was with them because he was always playing a role, and no one was able to truly connect with the person inside him. This awakening led Timmy to decide to let go of the toxic relationships and seek out people who were willing to accept him as he truly was. He gave up living according to the role and returned to his true self, the sensitive, creative, and authentic artist. By doing so, Timmy felt more genuine, closer to others, and most importantly, he felt reconnected with himself. He was no longer lonely because in the end, he allowed himself to be fully and honestly present. The greatest harm of shame, according to the argument in the passage, is that it prevents people from becoming their true selves. Nietzsche not only views shame as a negative emotion, but also as an internal barrier that hinders the development of one's true self. However, it is important to distinguish between two types of shame: toxic shame and healthy shame. Toxic shame arises from the belief that I should not be myself. The belief that one's true self, as it is wrong or not good enough. This belief often stems from the patterns and standards imposed by society, causing individuals to feel that they must change in order to be accepted. When this happens, they reject their true selves and live in the role that is expected of them, losing their internal freedom. On the other hand, there is another form of shame, healthy shame, which arises from recognizing the discrepancy between who I am now and who I want to become. This type of shame can encourage growth and positive change, as it originates from within, from one's own values, rather than from external judgment. Therefore, the liberation Nietzsche speaks of is not about completely denying the emotion of shame, but rather about freeing oneself from imposed shame. True freedom is when people no longer feel ashamed of themselves, but courageously live true to who they are, striving for an authentic and fulfilling life. Finally, the journey back to the true self is not just a personal journey, but also a journey of liberation. Liberation from toxic shame, from the roles that others impose on us, from the feeling of loneliness even when surrounded by people. When Timmy courageously removed his mask, something miraculous happened. He not only reconnected with himself, but also began to attract real people, those who see, love, and appreciate the true person within him. This is the freedom Nietzsche points to, a freedom that is not loud, not asserted through power or rebellion, but through honest and complete presence. A life where you no longer have to ask permission to be yourself. If you feel that this story and philosophy touch something deep inside you, a voice that has long been silent, please like this video and subscribe to the channel so we can continue the journey of returning to our true selves together. Because no one deserves to live under a mask, not even you.